Gaming news today is all about Battlefield 6 once again taking the world by storm with their second week of the beta. But that doesn't mean that there has not been some feedback provided for the Battlefield 6 beta, and there are many criticisms right now that people are hoping are rectified or addressed. Now, I grabbed a handful of videos. I'll be reacting to those later in this video. I've grabbed some sections to highlight, and there are some prevalent issues that seemingly are coming up in pretty much every video that I watch. Now, I myself, I didn't have the greatest experience on one map in particular. That seems to be the one map that is getting some of the feedback. I also do need to give the game another shot and actually disable crossplay and see if that improves my experience. I got maybe pulled into sort of the sweaty PC land, and it wasn't a great time. We're going to see if I don't have a better experience today, so we are going to dive back in. I've got videos, though, from Reforge Gaming, Operator Duski, and Levelcap Gaming for later. There will be timestamps below. We've gone with the more laid-back format with the show open, where I just sort of hang out and talk with the chat, just kind of about everything going on in gaming, or the current subject of Battlefield 6. Curious what everybody's experience has been as you can play right now, but we do like to open up the day with what we call a waiting room, where we just sort of hang out before diving directly into gameplay. I will tell you that Reforge Gaming speaks to time to kill, the prevalence of snipers, as well as cheating. Operator Duski speaks to map balance, weapon balance, matchmaking, and UI, and Levelcap Gaming speaks to class system criticisms. Duski also had his own criticisms of the class system. So we will be taking a look at those segments of those videos. And again, look for those timestamps later. Now, if you're watching this later, one of the best ways to help out is to make sure you're subscribed to the channel and always hit that like button on the videos. We have been saying that supporting the channel directly is something that is needed. I've had a lot of people say, hey, you help me through my workday. You kind of get me through my workday. If my show, the consistency of my show, length, and just the dialogue and the back and forth, if that helps you through your workday, consider supporting the channel directly. $6 a month is, all it takes to get into the Discord, to get into all that extra content, and to join the member ranks here. So we appreciate everybody who is doing that. If you can't do that, we are gifting members regularly. I'm already seeing people do that, so make sure you're here for that. And then we do want to, on the regular, mention the various sponsors that we work with, so you can click those links below. And the sponsor that I would highlight today is, you may notice I'm always wearing blue light blocking glasses. We do work with Gamer Advantage. You can use code LONO over there if you need some new glasses, some new shades, and the link is provided below as well. So we want to highlight the various people that do work with us and are partnered with us. So that is the show open, and my back end is looking different today. Pause. The YouTube made some updates to the live environment back here. Hopefully that means some of the issues we've been dealing with go away. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Both platforms already kind of starting the day. I've got to give it to Rare Killer, though. Han shot first, and so did you. The first renewal of the day with a tier 1, 36 months of subs over here on Twitch. Hilly doing the same thing at 9 months and says, boom. Thank you guys so much for that continued support. I greatly appreciate it. And then Joker Quinn is dropping a 5-bomb, the first 5-bomb of the day over here on YouTube. And we have gone back to our roots. Every 25, I am gifting. All right, we figured out a way to rectify a problem that we found last week, but we very quickly took action and we have solved that. So do not feel like, oh, I shouldn't gift anymore, or, I'm of this currency or that currency. It is all support. It all helps and provides for what we do here. So don't feel like you shouldn't be doing that any longer. Thank you so much, Frayed Voyager, for hitting 5 months as well over here on the purple platform. And thank you guys so much for the continued support. Some of you guys double dip, some of you guys gift on both platforms, and it is greatly appreciated. We are 8 away from the next milestone. Thank you. Yo, what's good, Holler H? How are you? Morning Loader, did you see the new Ghost of Yote combat footage from about 20 hours ago? That's actually, if it's on the PlayStation channel on YouTube, that is not new. I actually reacted to that last week, and that's on this channel. If it's the Kasuri Gama footage, that actually hit Twitter first. We reacted, we uploaded the video relatively quickly. That is something that we've been working on, having a more proactive approach. You should be getting more content on this channel than you really ever have. and hope you guys like that. If some of the, topics aren't in your wheelhouse, that's just the beauty of variety coverage. We kind of try to touch all of it. What took them so long to upload it on YouTube? I'm not really sure. That the whole situation was very, very strange. They uploaded it and tweeted it, and then the tweet came down, and then they immediately, not immediately, I'm sorry, they left it up on the Japanese Twitter account. It was very strange. So, like, my reaction was there was a handful of re-uploads on YouTube. Like, there was not very many. So it was very weird. Aaron Greenberg said Grounded 2 sold 3 million. He forgets units sold. Well, he did an update. He posted an update and said it was 3 million players, not units sold. So make sure you guys come in. That was a very, very short show open. We're already just kind of in the discussions. Make sure you hit that like button. Curious if anybody has, dove back in. Have you been able to play any of the Battlefield 6 beta? What are your thoughts? Have any of the changes helped? And are there other changes that you think need to be implemented? There seemingly was some consistent feedback about the classes. And, a couple of the videos felt that they had made, improvements to this system in the past, and now they've kind of regressed and gone backward in that arena. Now, I'm not familiar enough to really speak to it because I was just like, I don't know. I was just picking a class and running around doing my thing. Haley says, not yet, office day. That's why we do these waiting rooms. I know a lot of you guys are working and you don't have the opportunity to dive in and play right away. So that's why we do this. If you can't jump in to Battlefield 6 gameplay just yet, this is an opportunity just to kind of hang out, get your talk show, and enjoy, hanging out with the community and discussing all the various things about Battlefield 6 and the beta. And we appreciate the folks that tuned in yesterday. We talked about Helldivers 2 and the crossover, and we did an upload about the future with the PlayStation 6 and the Xbox Next. Yo, what's good, Lady Gamer? How are you? I'll be shooting RPGs at tanks tonight. That's the way to do it, Hilly. Battlefield 6 seems to be going to run circles around COD this year. Yeah, we talked about that on Monday, Battlefield 6 versus Call of Duty. And I saw Tom Henderson, he sent a tweet, and he said, the hype around Call of Duty just isn't there this year. And I think some of it's because they're being very withholding. Like, they've not shown or said really anything. Their reveal event is during opening night live on Tuesday of next week. So they're going to be at the kickoff event with Keeley. We will obviously be covering that. And more than that, I think there is the question, like, is the morale, is the feeling about Call of Duty sort of tepid? Like, even if they come out swinging next week and they kind of go crazy and they're like, hey, we've got a banger title coming this year, the question would be, is the public going to be more tepid and lukewarm to it, given how popular right now Battlefield is? Battlefield's kind of taking everybody's attention. And I don't know if Battlefield did this intentionally with the beta. I mean, Call of Duty's reveal is sort of surrounded on all fronts by the Battlefield 6 beta. There was early access last week. There's this week. And I believe isn't beta week 3 next week as well? So it does seem, I don't know if intentional, maybe inadvertently tactical, to be running your beta all around when Call of Duty comes out to really talk about their game. No week 3. There's no week 3. I thought when we looked at that image, there was 3 weeks. So this is it. Only 2 weekends. Oh, you know what? I'm confusing myself. I thought there were 2 weeks plus early access, and that's not what it was. It was that there was 2 weeks, and the first week was early access, and then like a second portion of it, because there was an image with like 3 sections of dates, but I think the first was just broken in half, wasn't it? Yeah, that's what it is. The early access is messing me up. I thought there was a 3rd week. Okay. Even still, this is not the best runway for Call of Duty, I don't think, to have everybody talking about the other game. Now, obviously, Call of Duty could be looking at this very differently and saying, okay, Well, when the dust settles on that beta, we're taking the main stage and we're going to show people what this next game is all about. I think the dilemma facing Call of Duty is that they've continued to do this sort of retread like they did with Modern Warfare 2 and 3, and now they're doing it with Black Ops. And I just wonder if they've overplayed their hand. You know, are people going to want something new and fresh, not another retread, not another Black Ops, right? Maybe they should have tried to do something new and to not feel like we're going back into the same sort of place that we have been before. Guys, make sure as you're pouring in to smash that like button. YouTube did push out some updates. My the dashboard for the live stream looks quite a bit different. I'm hoping that that's a good thing. We are hoping they give some of those needed changes. We're providing feedback always to make the experience better for you. Battlefield's being praised due to the fact that it's retreading old Battlefield games. Well, okay, that's true, but that's not exactly the same. I would not say those are equivalent to each other. Battlefield is sort of returning to its identity, its roots. It's that, you know, that phrase we always see, return to form. That doesn't feel like what Call of Duty's been doing with the retread. Going back to the stories and the characters and sort of doing these, like, essentially like soft reboots, retelling the same story, you know, in essence, but, you know, from different perspectives, different timelines, but the same characters and the same title for your game, right? Like, Battlefield's not doing like Battlefield 1942 too, you know. So you're right. Maybe that's the way to phrase it. This is the right way to retread. This is the right way to sort of return to your roots. And Call of Duty is doing it in a more nostalgic grab way. Like, well, we're going to grab the nostalgia of Black Ops. We're going to grab the nostalgia of, you know, our greatest hits. You know, is Cosel doing the... I don't know what you mean by that, hot shot. COD 7 still going last-gen consoles is holding it back. That's probably another element of people being more tepid about it, is they know that Black Ops 7 is going to be on that old gen, and, you know, Battlefield said no. And I know Battlefield certainly is... I don't think it's like knocking the next-gen door down, but they've nailed the feel. I think that's really where art style comes into play. You don't need all these fancy graphics and reflections and lighting. You just got to nail the feel of the game. Like, I think Helldivers 2 did a very good job with this in particular. Like, it's not some next-gen tour de force, but it's a really, really good-looking game. It just has a great feel and tone. Brooklyn, thank you for 25 months. You've been playing Battlefield. I tried 3 games of the beta last week, and it just got super sweaty, so I'm going to try it today, and I'm going to disable crossplay, and we're going to see if I can't have a better experience. I'm just not a very good player. I don't really play these games anymore, and because of that, I really just can't keep up. I get into a sweaty lobby, and it's like, okay, like, the skill gap gets really big for me really fast. I'm definitely old casual dad now. I just can't keep up with these boys that sweat and just, I mean, their target acquisition the other day was so fast. The one map is just bad, it wasn't you. Well, the map with all the sniper glints was certainly not fun, and then the next map, we got so obliterated, we were basically spawn trapped. But I will say, once the skill gap is that large, I'm done. Like, I'm not going to be able to keep up. I was in lobbies with people that were very, very good. They were fast at the kill time. They were working together, right? Usually you saw groups of people kind of together, which is how you're supposed to play. And I mean, I was obviously trying to do that as well. And I'm not really sure what... Shinka, what are you putting in the Discord? What is this video? I can't even read the language. I also don't know who is this. Jose? I don't understand what this video is you put in the Discord live chat. Minstry says, here's a look at LEGO Voyagers, Annapurna's 2-player mandatory co-op physics puzzle platformer set in the LEGO universe, launching on September the 15th. Yeah, that one looks like a really, really fun time. Guys, make sure a really, really good like ratio this early in the stream will help us. We're at a bit of a of a slow start, but that has always helped turn it around. So make sure you guys are smashing that like button, that thumbs up. I wouldn't run Assault. Go Support or Engineer, says Hilly. Try some different modes too. I really like Breakthrough. What do you do in Breakthrough? And Brooklyn upgrades from Gifted to a Member Plus. That is the big thing we want to see right now. We should probably set a daily goal for that in particular. Guys, if you can do it, it is extremely helpful right now. It's his own video channel. Yeah, no, please don't do that. I'm not really sure what you're doing. I don't even know who I don't recognize his username. Like, I don't feel like he's hung out all that often. I thought that was very bizarre. Eugene says, I don't see much changing for COD's player base. People that like COD are going to continue to play it. Many dip for a bit, but nothing negative long term. And the people enjoying Battlefield 6 overwhelmingly seem to be people who don't play COD anymore. I bet you there's a Venn diagram of that, though, Eugene, and there's overlap in the middle. I feel like there are COD heads that are going to switch. I do. I feel like there are Call of Duty boys that are like, yo, I did this. This is more fun. This is hot. Blah blah blah. Like they're gonna feel that draw, and maybe a more long-term way. Breakthrough is like offense versus defense. Hold points which fall and get moved back, making the late stage difficult to attack and easy to defend, and vice versa at the start. Okay. Did you see the Yote new video? It's actually not new. I reacted to it last week. The Kasuri Gamma footage hit Twitter, and for some reason they took it down, and then they recently published it to YouTube. So we were ahead of the game there, and y'all didn't watch my video because you came in telling me about it. Is that a Flynn's Arcade shirt? It is. It is. This is an 80s tee. We used to work with them. I think my code still works over there at 80stees.com. We just the tees got too expensive, and so my discount wasn't even significant enough. It looks like most of his shirts now are around $30, which isn't terrible. I feel like when we've worked with Into the AM recently, I feel like their prices have been a little bit more reasonable. But maybe not. It looks like even the graphic tees over there at Into the AM are pretty pricey, which my discount stacks on top of any of the sales that they typically do. So if you guys are ever over there at Into the AM and they're having a sale and you want to get some of these cool graphic tees, be sure to use my code Lono on both places. So it looks like 80s tees and Into the AM are both in similar pricing structures. My bad, been grinding 2K lately. That's not a problem, man. You know, just do that daily dose. Open up the YouTube app and, you know, give the old videos I've made a watch-a-rooney. You know, keep you up to date on everything. We're doing more uploads on the channel. That is something that we're very committed to, so you guys get, you know, more consumable content. Sometimes there's a video or a reaction or a topic that's like buried in a live stream, and it's easier for you to come later and watch like a 10-minute upload as opposed to like trying to go find it. Now, we do use the timestamps, right? We do use the timestamps. So if you guys are more inclined to watch the past broadcasts, those timestamps below should help. The overlap will be from the Battle Royale, not the core game mode players. That's probably a fair observation, Paul. That's probably a fair observation that, like, if there are people that are going to feel that draw from Call of Duty over to Battlefield, it'll be the Battle Royale. And Dodeva sees an opportunity to set up a bait, and him and Stonespire had the exact same idea, 2 singles coming in back-to-back. That means if somebody takes the bait and does a 5-bomb, they're an agent of chaos. It's still a good setup, boys. Let's see who takes the bait. Whoever hits it gets it, whether it's Twitch or YouTube. It's up for grabs right now. And so is 100 likes. Make sure you guys are smashing that like button. Those people aren't gamers. They are COD players, says Eugene. They have hundreds, if not thousands, of hours invested into COD. I don't see them going anywhere. I do think, and Hotshot takes it. There it is, the 5-bomb Agents of Chaos. And he says, let's get it done. The first milestone of the day. And I now owe you guys some members over there on YouTube. Purple, you were too slow. You'll have to wait for the next opportunity. Dollars, not hours. Oh, sorry. They have hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars invested into Call of Duty. I don't see them going anywhere. I definitely think there are people who are going to dabble and then go back home. Like, weigh in on this, chat. You know, there's a lot of different opinions about this. Do you think there are people in large quantities that are going to kind of switch their allegiance? Like, if for them, you know, Call of Duty is their game, it's home base, okay? If that's their home base, do you see them switching and being like, no, Battlefield's kind of my new jam, this is what I play every day, and they don't really go back to COD? Right? I don't know. Dollars don't matter. They switch Warzone off overnight and you lost everything. This is true. This is true. You might see folks saying, I'm out. You know, I invested all that money and I lost all that stuff. Hilly says, I think so. The higher the age of the player, the more likely that they switch. Warzone 2 will fall under the same hammer in the next few years, says Paul. There are groups that play a year behind every year. Like the day 26 comes out, they buy 25. It's wild. Oh, you guys are talking about people playing behind sports games. Oh, that's why you said yuck. I was like, why is Creature saying yuck? I was like, huh? If they get Battle Royale right, I'm definitely switching. So what we're talking about is we're talking about Battlefield 6 versus Call of Duty. Like, will people switch? There are people in chat weighing in now on the discussion. Not everybody can play right now. So I wanted to give you guys a talk show, a place to, you know, gab about this. If you guys use that word, I don't. So I don't know why I said that. But that's what we're doing right now. We're just going to be kind of talking about the various things. I've got some videos for you. There is feedback and criticism and some, you know, some wanted change in the realm of, you know, time to kill, prevalence of snipers, the class systems. The classes are getting criticism from what I'm seeing. I'm seeing some feedback consistently in these videos about the class system specifically. Normally, I never skip a Call of Duty no matter how bad. Even knowing it's bad, I still get it, says Solemn. But this year, I think I'm finally skipping COD. And Battlefield might be my main FPS PvP war game this year. D-Tom says, yeah, I said Gab. They have to bring back the big maps. People are already getting tired of the small maps. They said there are big maps coming. Yes. In the UK, we call that chinwag. I had never heard the expression, shoot the crap, but they swear, you know, shoot the... I never heard that expression before, and I worked at Best Buy, and I went outside after helping somebody load a television into their car, and the security guy was smoking a cigarette. He's like, hey, let's stand around here for a little bit. You don't got to go back in right now. Let's stand out here and shoot this. And I was like, I knew what he meant, but I was like, why would you phrase it that way? Chinwag, Gab, shoot the... COD versus Battlefield again, says Cowboy Wolf. It's been a long time coming. I actually think that's good for the industry to have two big titans kind of going head to head. Even big COD content creators are liking the game, so heads may swing. I saw the writing on the wall for COD, says Evidence. COD is no good. People are tired of the same old COD. Battlefield seems to be going back to the good old days, says Hotshot. RIP 2025. Battlefield 6. What's that say? Battlefield 6 suck because it doesn't have Battle Pass, collab skin, slide cancel, fast movement. Okay. I mean, it sounds like you know what you want. You're probably going to stay in Call of Duty. A Tron shirt? A Tron shirt! If you like my Tron shirt, smash like, click follow, do all the things. Celebrate the amazing Tron shirt. Battlefield's going to win this one, not going to lie. COD's been resting on its laurels for a while, and now they're panicking to make changes for Black Ops 7. Example, tac sprint removed. Call of Duty hasn't been good for years, says Devin. I remember when I was playing PUBG, and I remember telling people, I said, there's going to be a battle royale that comes out that's more optimized than this, and it's going to take over. And that happened. It was quite prophetic. Months later, it wasn't that long, months later, Fortnite hit the field, and it felt better to play. It was more optimized. and it took over. Now, PUBG is still around. PUBG still does fine. But boy, oh boy, did Fortnite take over. Not until Warzone did we see even a remote shift of players that large. Battlefield 6 bad because no slide cancel, says Ganks. Slide cancel is part of the problem with COD. I do think, I've realized this over the years, especially with Call of Duty in particular. There's a breed of player that thinks playing like a degenerate is the best way to play. It's almost like, it's different, but it's almost like when someone sort of lovingly thinks that the bugs in the game are part of the charm. I think there are people that think about Call of Duty in that way. They're like, I'm gonna slide cancel, I'm gonna drop shot, exploit, glitch, whatever I can do. Like, they don't cheat, but buddy, they think playing like a degenerate is like the way to play. And if you mess with those things, to them, that's part of the charm of Call of Duty. Is that, slide canceling is just part of the game. Finding those ways to play, that's just part of the game. I feel like in Call of Duty specifically, there's just play as nasty as you can play. The nastier you are, the better player you are. Right. It's almost like a mark of pride. And I think that's why there's commonly such a sharp divide in that community on these topics, because people are like, don't get rid of slide cancel. Slide cancel's awesome. Don't get rid of this exploit or that exploit. I love that, right? A gifted member from Glenn Schofield, man, all this week, just been keeping things going. Gets us to 277. We'll see if you guys can't nudge that to the 20 bomb bait. We'll see if we can't get our first 20 bomb of the day and get ourselves on pace. We need to be at 300 going into today. We're a little behind. We're catching up right now. I hate playing objectives, so Battlefield is not the kind of game for me. Would you... I'm not going to try and convince you to play the game. What about like the team deathmatch and stuff? You wouldn't play the more stripped down modes in Battlefield? You just think that... What about the Battle Royale? Are you going to try the Battle Royale in Battlefield? Where do you gravitate in COD? Are you like an arena sweathead, or do you like Warzone? Where do you typically hang your hat? Battlefield 6, I miss buildings falling, walls crumbling, and knocking helicopters down with RPGs and a full squad. All my friends. Solo COD, I'm burnt out. Time to move on, says John Quill Anderson. John Quill? How do I say your first name? Is it Yonquil? Huh. I don't know if I've ever seen that first name before. You said yup. I took a couple chances there, so one of those is right. What's the waiting room for? Beta's open. Let's go. Well, we like to talk and have a conversation. I don't like to just jump into gameplay right away. A lot of people have been saying this lately. They're like, you help me get through my work day. And I'm going to say, if that's true of you, if you're like, man, he really helps me get through my work day, I love putting him on in the background. That seemingly has been said the most by people who decide to pick up their own membership. So if I help you get through your workday, consider doing that. Hit join, $6 a month, keeps the show going. This is a fan-funded show. This show is not sponsored by a bunch of companies. I mean, we have partners, but those are like kickbacks. Like, hey, go use my code. Like, we're not getting a lot of those sponsored opportunities. You guys are going to help us get there. You're going to get us to that place where we start getting those opportunities. Because right now, the show is sponsored by you. Battlefield 6 beta map are so small they attracted COD players in Battlefield 6. Do you think that was intentional? Do you guys think they intentionally went with smaller scale maps, even in their debut, when they did their big stream event? I don't know. Maybe they thought we're going to have an easier time kind of like easing the COD heads into our game if we have something that's not so crazy large just from the jump. I mean, that they said they've got bigger maps coming. Battlefield 6 will be successful, in my opinion, if it can convert 10 to 15% of the Warzone MAUs to the Battlefield 6 BR. That was something we were talking about the other day, where You don't need to take the entirety of the Call of Duty player base. You just need a percentage. They're really big player base. And if you can just get, a slice of those homies, you got a lot of people. In addition to Battlefield fans, in addition to people who don't really play Call of Duty. What do the Steam charts say? We'll check them in just a second. A $10 super chat coming in from Jay Christ. My opinion is if the devs didn't intend it, get it out of the game. Otherwise, the devs need to work it into the code for an actual mechanic. Right. If you're talking about slide canceling and exploits and things like that, I will gift a member here. I forgot to set the super chat goal. Thank you for starting off the super chats, Jay Christ. Thank you guys for already getting us to 100 likes. Try to get us to 200 likes if you haven't already. That ritual is so helpful when you guys come in. You give that little like button a smack. You're not going to dethrone this for a few weeks. Player engagement tracker for July is Call of Duty headquarters. Well, it's really, really hard to dethrone Call of Duty headquarters. The Call of Duty headquarters because the HQ, because that's everything. Anybody that opens up Call of Duty is triggering that as a player count. I just got off. I was playing it since 4 a.m. Says Nitsuwa. It's awesome. Played every open beta so far. No complaints, other than I hope there is good variety of cool maps. If you see people stay outside of objective and sniping, only they are definitely COD player in Battlefield 6. I think Battlefield players play like that. Steam charts are showing 375? You're kidding me. No way. Are you freaking serious? 352 is what I'm seeing. Hang on, let me open up the other tool. All-time peak, it says, was 865. All-time peak was 517. I'm getting conflicting reports from these two Steam charts. Okay, hang on. I got both of them now. Oh no, you're right. I'm seeing 378. 378 right now. 378,000. Jiminy Christmas. On its way. Whew, look at that. It's crazy how fast this thing's going to climb. I bet you they break their record. They're gonna play with 600,000 this weekend on Steam, I bet. At that level of climb, I bet you they toy around with 600,000 and they surpass the record of 521 because more people can play now. And word of mouth. Word of mouth is very effective. You know, you're going to have people. It also kind of spreads like a network effect. You've got people that are like, hey, come play. It's fun, you know. Imagine what it'll be at launch. How many people will be there just for the campaign? Yeah, I wonder if you're going to see different turnout for launch, though, because it being free does play a role. You know, like, well, yeah, sure, I'll try it. Everybody's going to try it. They said 1 million. Well, I'm sure they hit 1 million concurrents if you combine console. If you have 500,000 on PC, I would imagine between Xbox and PlayStation, you have another 500,000 people playing at the same time. They easily hit 1 million concurrents, right? There's no way they didn't. That seems very, very reasonable. I'm saying on Steam alone, they're going to probably surpass their previous record and get into the 600,000. Also, the EA app. I would imagine not a lot of people are using that anymore, right? If the beta is resonating like this, I'd expect high numbers at launch. No, I'm not saying they won't have high numbers. I just wonder if they'll be able to match. Like, this weekend's probably going to be pretty insane because of the fact that it's free and word of mouth. Having to actually buy the game can lower your numbers a little bit. I heard a lot of people didn't realize you could do the beta on Steam, so they did it on the app. Oh, really? Add in 500,000 from PlayStation and the 25 people from Xbox. Stop it. Everyone is willing to try a new game, but how many are actually going to buy? That's what I'm saying. I don't know. They'll hit a new record this weekend, more than likely. Having to buy it is, I don't know if they'll be able to match this weekend versus launch weekend. I don't know if they'll be able to match the numbers. Because, man, when it's free, that you're just going to get a ton of people that are going to dabble. They're only playing it because their buddies wanted to play it. Like, they're maybe not that interested. You know what I mean? Like, oh, well, I've not played a Battlefield in a while. You know, let me check this out. In my mind, the opening weekend won't be able to be as strong as the weekend that we're about to head into. Battlefield has always done well week 1, but week 2 people call for the developer's head. I mean, we're going to be reacting to some videos here in about a half an hour. There are definitely some pieces of criticism. Yo, Roro Raven, thank you so much for keeping your Member Plus going over here on YouTube. That is so helpful. If you guys enjoy the content, it gets you through that day, gets you through that grind, consider doing a Member Plus membership like that. Long time no see. Yeah, good to see you. Welcome back. Battlefield 2042, I don't think went that way. It was awful on release. I don't think the beta for Battlefield 2042 fared that well either. Didn't it have a lot of problems and glitches that people were pretty critical of? Still a day to wait for my next milestone. Yeah. One more, right? Still, you got to wait one day. If the BR is free, they might beat the beta. Oh, yeah, I didn't consider that, Hilly. With the BR being free, that's when they could actually beat the beta. You're right. Because that'll pull in players from basically every BR. I mean, yo, Mike on the mic bumps the line and gets us one away from that tantalizing 20 bomb to 300. We'll see if you guys can't bait out one of the big boys to drop a 20 bomb. It'll be the first one of the day. Thank you so much. Yo, and a $5 super chat from Mike on a mic. This guy says, good morning, fam. Hey, when you're in town, I've got it on the calendar that we'll just do dinner, right? I'll probably just Uber. I don't think I'll be able to take the car. So, you know, we'll just figure out where you are and where the good eats are around wherever you are, and I can just Uber to you. I do, hang on. Somebody said something about getting the number wrong. I'm trying to find that. And a single gifted from Joker Quinn. There it is. Setting up the dunker. Everybody's fighting for the setups, for the baits. And there it is. Whoever hits it gets it. This is the easiest one to steal because people are less likely to do this. So, Twitch, if you're lurking in the shadows and waiting, now's the time. Hotshot says 20 bombs somewhere. We'll see. The bait has been set. Yeah, somebody said something about somebody getting the numbers wrong. I think it was it Corey? Everyone is willing to try a new game. I thought somebody said that somebody got the numbers wrong. What numbers? Oh, there it is. Chris says it. He got the number wrong. They said they wanted 100 million players or something stupid like that for Battlefield. Oh, right. Yeah, their aspirations for the game seem to be a little high. I will say that. I mean, they certainly are getting a good turnout though. I can't give those bombs with my service provider. It'll flag it as suspicious. We'll see. Then you got to Voltron it up. You got to get some people in chat to commit to 5 bombs, and you do 4 at once and steal it away from Twitch. You know, you guys got to think outside the box. You know. What's good, Lono? Ready to get carried again? I didn't get carried. I lost and died a lot. I didn't get carried. I am not very good at these games. And that was well on display when I played. You know, Asmongold was watching that person that got banned for cheating, and then he watched some Shroud, and then they're like, well, now let's watch some of your footage. Your team picking up your slack. There really wasn't any slack to be picked up in the second and third game. We all were getting annihilated as a team. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of... when the whole team's that bad, there really is no carrying going on. We were all just fish in a barrel. You know? There wasn't really anybody at the top of the food chain on those teams I was on. We were all pretty bad. They definitely put together some C level B squad teams. We were not good. His shotgun misses were harder to do than hitting the dude. A former cheat dev said that person was cheating. Well, they got banned because they were cheating. Like, it was blatantly obvious. I don't think people understand. Like, I never understand why, whenever that conversation takes place, why people are like, you just don't understand, how fast people are on PC. And it's like, the people saying that are either ignorant or they're also cheaters. It's like, there's no way anybody with a brain actually thought that was legitimate footage. I've watched them play other games. They have never been game banned. Oh, you've seen them cheat in other games, Paul. Well, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if the clip going viral is what led to this. Maybe in the past it flew under the radar because there wasn't a lot of attention drawn to it. They've not even been banned by EA. Call of Duty is so full of cheaters. Just look at Activision's post on how many people they've banned. I mean, it's literally an economic problem. There are businesses that make tons of money selling cheats. Yeah. I had to give him max money for Battlefield 6. Gonna love the investment. And a 20 bomb from Gwendolyn Gaming. Huge! And good luck to you. This guy's going to the top. He's going to the top. He's got a huge opportunity coming up. Thank you so much. Bumping the line to 38-3. Twitch getting left in the dust. There it is. That's what you should do. Your signature move, if you get into wrestling, you should call it the 20 bomb and wink at the cam, and we'll all know what you mean. I'm like, what the heck does that mean? And like, that's an inside joke. Well, I owe YouTube a member. Thank you so much for that huge contribution to the channel, getting us to the milestone, getting us on course here. The 20 bomb stunner. That's right. That's right. And I'm going to pay up what I owe. We're back to our roots. Every 25, I'm contributing. So which class you been liking the most? I just kept picking like the assault, and then I tried the one with the sniper rifle. We'll experiment a little bit more today. We will. I'm also going to turn off crossplay and just see if we have a better experience, because I'm not seeing anybody complaining about the skill-based matchmaking. I thought that I got yanked by skill-based matchmaking, but I think what happened is Hilly joined my lobby. He was PC. I think he pulled me into PC land, and I think it was just sweaty. It was just we were playing against people that had their target acquisition was crazy. Can you play as air support? I've never been good with the vehicles. That's never been my thing. I had a friend who would just live in the jet, and I mean, I would just always be the grunt on the ground. 99% of the people who are accused of cheating aren't. That's been my experience over 30 years. I don't think the people that stream and get accused of cheating, I think a lot of the times they are. I do. I think some of the more prevalent names that were accused over the years, and there's a mountain of fishy footage, I think they're running soft cheats. I think they're running something that's very subtle. It's not as easy to detect. It's been very fine-tuned, and I think a couple of times they got caught, and I think for whatever reason it was overlooked. The footage that went viral on Twitter, that was not soft cheating. That was blatant. It was absolutely blatant. It was locking on. It was doing through walls. Like, you're talking like hard stops. You're not talking like a flick snipe here and there. You're talking like aim that just goes like this. I mean, it literally moves and stops right on the person. Like, come on, man. That's not that's not human. That's not how people aim. You're gonna have some, stoppage. You're gonna have some times where you go past the player by a little bit. You're not gonna have these hard stops. That person was in the top 12 in Valorant, Overwatch, CS:GO. I just think they would be game banned and won by now. I mean, I don't know what to say, Paul. I mean, maybe it gets undetected. I mean, we've seen plenty of people point out blatant cheaters that don't get banned for whatever reason. We've seen this in multiple games. It's not unique to this situation. Can you do ordnance support as a battleship? I'd love to play as a boat, says Jack. You better watch it. Sarcasm, I get called names by their community. I mean, I don't really think there's any concern there. The general consensus has been that there were cheats being used. It's a DMA cheat that runs on a separate PC to avoid kernel level detection. I watched a video defending. I could see both ways now. I don't know. I can spot a cheater by their player movement. Ignore the shooting. A good player has excellent movement. That player's movement was non-existent. They knew where players were. Yeah, and I think that was something that was pointed out. Like, as soon as Asmongold showed Shroud footage, people were like, look at the movement. Like, you can immediately tell you're watching a high-level player. Just the movement alone is a huge tell. It was a huge tell. And in general, in general, if you're going to stream cheats, you're taking a risk. There have been people that have done this, and then they get caught. There are people that don't get caught, I think that's one of the biggest challenges with it, is that there are such high... What is this? Hang on. Can we set the scene OBS you switch to when you record? It's going to be auto sub. We won't listen. No reason to remember... I'll probably just have to remember to turn it off, because I'll hit the wrong buttons and go to the wrong scenes anyway when I'm recording. That's the biggest problem. Did Purple ban them? Yeah, I would think that there was evidence. Yeah, they were locking on to people behind structures. Yeah, I mean, if you're, again, it's obvious because we've seen high-level players do flicks and do snipes. We've seen it. Creature, could we maybe just create something down here if I forget? Like, I don't know. Like a logo, or maybe something that makes it clear it's from a live. Maybe we would do that. I don't know if that's helpful or not. I'm not sure. Sometimes I wonder if that would be the way to do it. Like if I forget to do it, already did. Okay, yeah, because I'm gonna forget. It's gonna happen, and we're gonna have footage that we want to use, and yeah. What is a DMA cheat? I think direct memory access. How do they do that from another PC? I don't know. I'm not really sure. I think in Tim the Tatman's case, cheating should be encouraged. Part of Tim's appeal, though, is that, listen, you could watch high-level play. You could. There is an armada of streamers that you can watch that are going to play at a high level. They're going to hit their snipes. They're going to move like a god. They're going to throw down kills. You watch Tim for Tim. And I think that's why he's just got such a corner on streaming, because he is entertaining even in now some people don't like the screaming and the yelling, but even in the screaming and yelling, I think people think it's entertaining. They like it. There's a way to do salty, angry streamer vibes, when you're having a bad game or when something goes poorly, and that's just something I think he's done a very good job with. You can watch a dozen people play at a high level, and it's sometimes no shade at all. I think sometimes that just gets kind of old, and you like to watch the train wreck. You like to watch the guy that's gonna kind of like flip his lid, or screw something up or fall off a building and stuff like that. Like that, I think is one of the reasons that the beauty of that method, and I think he has to know this. It sort of makes him transcendent. Like it doesn't matter if he starts to age out. It doesn't matter if he's not as good as he once was. The guys who, like, their brand is their skill, there has to be some sense of foreboding about the future. Like, they know they're going to get older and slower as time goes on. There's always the potential that somebody's better. There's always the potential that somebody's more seasoned, more practiced, younger, whatever. And that's always going to be a threat to your relevancy. Like, if you start to not play as well, if you start putting up less W's, if your kill death starts to get a little bit lower over time, you've got to find another way to be entertaining. He can be entertaining even if he does start to experience some of those effects on his gameplay. Because we all do. We all do. You just get older and you get slower. That's just the nature of things. The anti-cheat never knows it's been looked at. It's like a pass-through signal. Oh, the DMA cheat is like a pass-through signal. It never goes back to the main PC with anything changed. Huh. Can I be your medic, Lono? I'll be right behind you literally all the time with support. Well, you're just trying to get revives. No, I know what you're trying to do. You can't fool me, sir. You can't fool me. I know what you're trying to do. And I will not be used in such a way, mister. All of a sudden a montage shows up on some YouTube channel. They're like, I rezzed Reforge Gaming 18 times in 2 minutes. And it's just me. Down. Get him back up. Down. Get him back up. I've seen burnout of streamers, and you can tell the entertainment factor. It's the first thing I notice. Well, right. Like, I think that a lot of them have experienced that. I think because you always have to be on your A game. You always have to be performing. You always have to be putting on a show. I don't like playing challenging content in front of a live audience. It messes with me. I remember playing Sekiro on my couch, and the game felt easier. Now, some of that was my capture card wasn't set up right, and I was experiencing some input delay. We fixed that. This playlist is fire. Is it Spotify? You can't have a link to this. Well, not yet. We will have a channel soon that has all the synthwave. Right now, we're focusing on getting all my music up that has my lyrics in it. This music was created by AI. I got tired of messing with the copyright-free playlists that are out there because, people can do like a false claim or whatever. If anybody false claims my content now, I'm going to be like, no, that's mine. Like, it's literally on my hard drive. It's not anywhere right now. So, Tom Warren replied to the cheating clip. What did he say? That's bait. The amount of people that think this is aimbot shows that most PC gamers have never heard of aim training or raw Excel. Tom can't be serious. You're saying that's bait. He can't be serious. AI music, not gonna lie, is pretty dope. Something good came out. There are people that have different opinions on it. I understand. The music that we're gonna be putting out there. The lyrics are all 100% original to me. So it is a blend. It is a cathartic and artistic endeavor that wouldn't be possible without it. But Yeah, there's no way Tom Warren really thinks that. Is he being, he's got to be being sarcastic. Like, he has to know that's not real. This guy says, there's been an actual cheat dev coming out and saying this is cheats, not that it matters at all. And Tom says, who said that? Raw Excel isn't cheating. I love you, but this is not normal aiming. He says it's not normal, no, but there are whole communities of people that train for this style. Here's a slowed down video of it happening. Can you train yourself to aim behind rocks, says somebody. Yeah, Tom's out in left field on this one. Tom's 100% out in left field on this one. If he thinks this is real, you need to watch the pushback. No, here, look. You guys, anybody that thinks this is legitimate is freaking clueless. Right here, watch the snap. All right? Okay, we got a player. Boom, 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 and then kapink. No, that's not training. That's not Excel. That's a freaking cheat. That's a bot. That is an aimbot misfiring and procking to somebody behind cover. This 100% is not just somebody who trained. And look at how it single frame stops. Like, it immediately stops. No one aims like that, bro. Through a wall, snap, hard stop. It goes bink and immediately stops. That is 100% an aimbot. Anybody who thinks that's legitimate is lying to themselves, or they also use cheats and they're lying to the public. That's not legitimate at all. I have watched some of the highest level players play these games. Nobody does that. Nobody does that. We've seen the highest level players play these games. They go to competitions, they compete, they win money. Nobody's aiming like that. Like bink, like just a fast stop on a rock. Get the frick out of here. Obvious cheats. Obvious. If people want to pick apart the footage and go to spots where like maybe it's not happening and they're like, no, yeah, this is real. This person's real. It's like, if you watch all the footage, this is what always happened in the past when people would get accused of cheating. They would go to very particular spots that were defendable, but there were things in footage I've seen. It's like that. There's no defending that. Like, it's obvious something's going on. The beginning's the most obvious. Oh, where they spin all the way around and they're immediately locked on somebody they can't see. Yeah, that's training right there. You can train yourself to do that. Like you're freaking Neo from the dadgum Matrix. Get out of here. All I would say is watch the counter argument. No, I will not watch the counter argument when there is clear evidence of cheating. Why would I do that? Why would I do that? It's obvious. Who cares if there's a counter argument and maybe there's some footage that they're defending? There's footage right there of blatant cheats. Case closed, dismissed. Why are we talking about that? Like, why are we acting like there's an argument to be made? We just saw evidence of cheating. The counter argument's irrelevant. Like, I don't get this. This happened the last time that people were caught blatantly cheating. People would put together these goofy hang an elephant off a cliff by a daisy arguments to be like, no, it's legitimate and people move like this. Because they do this on every game that they play. So, because they do it in other games that they play and haven't been banned, you think that's evidence that they're legit when we have concrete evidence of people who cheat and don't get banned. We've seen it. We've seen the leaderboards of games. We've literally seen the leaderboards of games riddled with people obviously cheating that for whatever reason don't get banned. We've got plenty of evidence in the market right now of people that cheat and don't get banned. It happens all the time. The evidence that like, well, they do this in other games and don't get banned. So the frick what? I know what legitimate aim looks like. I've professionally shoutcasted, for crying out loud. I've literally watched some of the best streamers in the world play these games and shoutcasted their gameplay. And that right there, if I was watching that person, I'd be like, this isn't legit. I'd have clicked off right away. All I'm saying is it's not as clear as it looks. Yes, it is. The footage we just saw is very crystal clear. Legit players don't play like that. They don't immediately spin their character around and hard stop on somebody through a wall. I've never seen anybody do that. I've never seen a really good player, they're shooting somebody and their aim just snaps to a rock and hard stops. I've never seen that before, unless somebody's cheating. People change their sensitivity to shoot someone. Yeah, but that's not what we just watched. If you add the Audios' creature and how they try to pretend to be shocked and they try to talk their way out of the snapping, yeah, you can totally tell when the aimbot misbehaves on these people. I've seen the clips before. This isn't the first person that's like, huh? What? What was that? Why did that happen? Why is it not happening to like anybody else? You know? Come on. I have, and it's when someone's cheating. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We've seen this type of behavior before. We see anomalous snap aiming that's inexplicable. The streamer acts surprised and acts like the game is acting funny. Come on. AOZ says, look at Dr. Lupo, perfect example. Well, in the situation with that, I watched a whole breakdown. I forget who it was. It might have been Carl Jobs. I don't know who it was, broke the whole thing down. No, it wasn't him. It was somebody else. We still don't have the full story there. We still don't. It was, I wasn't. It was, oh, I got it from chat. It was, oh, it was just that one game. Then it was, okay, I did it in multiple games. We still haven't gotten the full confession. It was just this gradual, only admit enough to hopefully get out of this. Like, we still don't have the full story there. We still don't have the full admittance that it was far bigger than just like a fight or flight moment where I freaked out and did it. That's not at all. I wish crossplay was off by default. Imagine cheating in a video game as a career. I mean, I don't know why anybody would do it in front of a live audience. That's bold. Creature says, I think there's other big streamers that use the same stuff. I've never been compelled that like Lupo cheats in the other games. I mean, it was obvious in the chess thing. I've never been compelled. I've watched a lot of his footage, and I've seen people try to claim it, and I'm like, I'm just not seeing it. I don't know. Like, no shade, but like, I don't even know if the level of play is high enough to even be accused of it, right? I know people have said that about Shroud. I'm like, I don't think so. I think you'd be able to catch him. You would catch him. There would be a slip up. There's hundreds and hundreds of hours, thousands of hours of footage. I feel like the slip ups would be there. I mean, this person tried it for an afternoon and they slipped up. Like, boom, right there. It just hard snapped on a rock. Not hardcore cheating, but some soft assistance. I don't know. Like, soft, like, you know, okay, so what Creature's getting at is there was a video that came out a while ago, and it basically was that there's an epidemic of cheating in the higher echelons of play, and a lot of the big players and a lot of the big streamers have like custom made cheats, and they're like soft cheats, so they're harder to detect, right? My thought on this is I don't know how you would keep that quiet and secret for as long as it's been going on, because I'm pretty sure, Creature, you told me about this like 2 years ago. I would imagine by now somebody would have come out. Somebody would have gotten caught. And it just hasn't happened. I mean, there's weird situations like what happened with like Nadia, where like she got all this notoriety. It was pretty obvious that at least this was my conviction. it was pretty obvious she was using stuff. She went to some event. It was a disaster, and then she just stopped playing, right? I don't have the exact timeline down, but that's pretty much what happened. And that was a situation where it was like, okay, there's clearly something going on right now. There's clearly cheats being used. But like the high level guys allegedly using like some kind of low level soft cheat that we can't really detect. I don't know. It starts to feel conspiracy theory to me. It's like, I feel like by now you'd get caught. She was prepping for OnlyFans anyway. I don't even think she did that for very long, though, did she? I don't even know what she's doing now. I've not seen anything about her in any of the feeds. I don't even know what she did or where she is or what she's doing. I'm enjoying the Battlefield beta, but as someone who has been playing since Battlefield Bad Company 2, unlocked weapons for all classes is a huge red flag. We're going to watch some clips, Z, and there are people that agree with you. There's some content creators out there that have made some videos that agree with you. Guys, if you don't mind, take a quick second and hit the like button. Try to get us to 200 likes. We are an hour into the stream. I'm going to be reacting to the videos shortly. Let's get to 200 likes first. AOZ says, there are custom program cheats for these professionals to fit their play styles. The cheats are specifically designed to look like regular gameplay. It's a known industry. And a 5-bomb comes in from Hotshot. Well, that's not bad. That's a 20-bomb setup. We'll see if anybody decides to leapfrog us to the next milestone. Thank you so much, Hotshot. I appreciate it. At 325, I will owe another member. Twitch, this is your opportunity to steal it. YouTube's gotten 2 of them already today. Everyone uses steroids now. Creatures agreeing with AOZ. Yeah, that's essentially what has been claimed and what has been asserted, is that there are cheat makers that create custom cheats to essentially mimic the playstyle of the player. So when they pull off a great play or they pull off some crazy thing, you're like, well, no, that's just how they play. There is no suspicion, basically. The player numbers have hit 387,000 on Steam for the Battlefield 6 beta. What was the game that put all the cheaters in the same server? I forget who did that. The more popular the player gets, the more attention the game they play gets. It's a vicious circle. I mean, I'm not ready. I would need to see compelling evidence. So I will readily accept there is probably some folks out there running something. Okay? I'll say that's believable. No way to know who, and without concrete evidence, I wouldn't come to a conclusion about anybody. I'm very much a big proponent and a believer in evidence, you know, for a lot of reasons. Evidence is extremely important. GT5 King, thank you for 10 months. Like, you know, if you're going to say, hey, that so-and-so over there is using some kind of a soft cheat and blah, 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 I would need very, very compelling evidence to be like, okay, you've convinced me. These games include perishable skills. A lot of these streamers feel the pressure as they age and need to maintain their dominance. Many times these professionals are top tier in skill. If they take the redeploy from the recon class as Jamal and they put it on the assault class, you just use a sniper on the assault class, problem solved. That's why you have to lock weapons behind classes for balance. That seems to be the contention. Yeah. Last week they banned 300,000 players cheating in the beta. I believe the stat was that they stopped 330,000 attempts to cheat, but they banned... I thought they banned less than that. I thought they were stopping people from cheating, and then after they would stop them, they would ban them. Like, there were people that were doing, like, multiple attempts or something. maybe I misread the stat. I thought it was that they had stopped 330,000 people from cheating, and then they had banned like a smaller number, which that stat was confusing to me. Like, stopping people from cheating, wouldn't you just immediately ban them? It may not even be age. After time, you just may not be as motivated to be as highly skilled as you were when you were hungry. Yo, what's good, Lady Desiree? Good to see you. I think the last time I saw you in person, was it at that EA event? I think we were like in line to get food or something. I think that was the last time I saw you in person. Anyway, appreciate you. Yeah, the cheating with the Lupo situation, I addressed it the day it came out. And I was about as gracious as I could be, even though he was extremely ungracious to me and perpetuated lies about me and never corrected the public record, even when I asked him to privately when stuff was disappearing and, you know, claims were being retracted. That was pretty disappointing. But I was pretty gracious. I was like, you know, people make mistakes, people fall prey to something in the moment. But then the more the story unraveled, the more that I don't think he's ever actually told the entire truth. I think he has only told what was necessary. It was very gradual. It was, no, I wasn't. I got the info from chat. Okay, yeah, I was using a cheat engine. It was a fight or flight moment. It was only that one game. Okay, maybe it wasn't only that one game. Like, it's like, and then we're just going to move on from it. You know, willing to pay for an event or something like that. I feel that, like, you know, restoration, you know, forgiveness, reconciliation, people being given a second chance, I think it requires full confession, not like some partial pulling of the tooth where we don't even really ever get the full story. So I watched a breakdown of it that really changed my mind. I was like, you know what? I still am not going to stand in judgment over somebody and be like, you ruined him. You know, I still think that grace and forgiveness is so absent these days. But it's hard to be gracious and forgiving when you don't even get the full story or the full confession. You get this like half thing. So, yeah. I actually think the whole thing would have gone over a lot better for him, and I would even have a different opinion of him right now if he would have just immediately been like, I'm an idiot, I shouldn't have done this, this is what I did. But instead, it was just like this, it was so, there was just this reluctancy, and this is something I'm always hesitant about. I'm always hesitant when someone is posturing as if they're admitting and they're not. I'm like, wait. Eventually you cross over into acquiescence and you're like, okay, jig is up, I'm cooked, I'm going to admit everything, right? That never happened, which always makes me a little like, my eyebrow kind of goes up, you know? It makes my hackles raise a little bit. I'm like, oh, okay. Just the refusal, even to this day, to just completely acquiesce to the situation, surrender. Just surrender to what has happened and be like, here's the full story. It just raises my hackles a little bit. It's like, okay, have we ever really gotten the real you and the real story? Because all the people I've known, and I've known people that have screwed up big time, I have screwed up big time, and there's just that moment where you surrender to it and you just kind of let it all out. It's super therapeutic. It's the only way to have healing in your life. It's the only way to have healing in your heart. And so I would want that for him. I would want that for any streamer that's holding on to something like that. Because I think there's a lot of them that are just holding on to things and not really being honest about situations or their life or just even who they are. And I think that's just a poison. You know, you're just holding poison in your soul. So, yeah. It's a rare, though, to see super authenticity and entertainment, though. That's been a hard pill for me to swallow over the years. It's something that I wrestle with all of the time. Like, just this morning before I went live, I was like, let me just be authentic. Like, let me not be some weird version of myself, because it's really easy to do. It's really easy to just sit down and like put on a persona or like project some thing that you want people to see in you, or that like you want to like, it's, and it makes sense, right? You want to protect yourself. It's a natural, especially if people have been through traumatic things, or maybe they had crappy family life or something like that, or bad relationships. So you naturally want to protect yourself. Well, a great way to protect yourself is to never really put yourself out there. You put out some fake version, some fake projection. It's basically a defense mechanism that children often learn when they're young in their life, and they go through trauma and they carry it into their adulthood. We've all been there. We've all done that. We've all done it to some degree. I think streamers and content creators especially, it's a very dangerous path, because this is something I've talked about before. You will vanish, beneath the mirage and the projection that you put out there. Like, there's a real you. There's a real you beneath that. And that person will disappear with time. You'll lose yourself. You'll die. All that'll be left is some weird version, some distorted projection of yourself. In The Great Divorce, C.S. Lewis has this guy who he runs into his wife in the afterlife. And he's very small, and he's attached to, by way of a tether, this big showman who's like, hey, hello. And he's very like, he has this natural magnetism and charisma. But the real guy is the little guy, slowly shrinking and disappearing. And his wife is pleading with him, stop this charade, disconnect yourself from this so that you can live. And the more she tries, the smaller he gets. And eventually, he vanishes. And all that's left is this smiling persona with a top hat. This fake, this phony. And I think that's a picture of what this industry will do to people. You will be the guy, the fake, the phony for so long. You disappear. You die. It's death of self. Like, full integration with technology will do this as well. I even have like a whole thought on this. I've never really put it to paper, but like, full integration with tech leads to death of self. Like, the self, the you, the way you envision yourself dies, and you fully take on digital existence, basically. You only exist in these spaces. You only exist in Twitter and in Instagram. You don't exist outside of these spaces. Which is a lyrical line in one of my songs. So, yeah. I think I think I just call caution, and call on people to do the hard thing, do the painful thing, admit what happened, admit the lies, and be free. Whatever life you're living now beneath the weight of it, with the skeletons rattling in the closet, is not a life worth living. It really isn't. It just isn't. So. I think the problem is that a lot of people don't truly know what they believe. They haven't fully established their own ethos, their own code of ethics, so they just float in the wind and will be whomever the public wants them to be. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I watched a really long form video about Jim Carrey, and he said that. He said that it got to the point where he felt like it wasn't authentic to just keep doing something because it's what people wanted from him. He's like, that would be inauthentic. It wouldn't be him being himself. And he eventually came to the conclusion that Jim Carrey was just another role he was playing. It's really interesting to listen to, like, the trajectory of his life, his views of himself and of reality. That, like, basically the famous clip is like, I don't exist, none of us exist. Like, he got very, very weird. I don't know where he is now on everything, but the last part of the video seemingly was the idea that in his mind, Jim Carrey doesn't exist. Jim Carrey is just another character that he has played. So. Most people's ethics are generally selfishness and greed. Those aren't really ethics. Those are, I think, just manifestations of survival instinct. There's not a lot of thought there. That's very animalistic. Like, if you break it down, selfishness and greed are just, higher evolved versions of, animalistic behavior is all it is. There's not a lot of thought there. Not a lot of philosophical depth to selfishness and greed. His passing did a number on him? Yeah. You're living in the Matrix. That's why. That's right. Jack Garland says, having kids, or at the very least, people you're responsible for, helps. Having people in your life that force you to be genuine keeps you grounded. Oh my gosh. And it exposes how weak you are. I didn't thank you. I'm so sorry. GT5 King, I got going on a subject, and we're at 307. Thank you so much for renewing. I appreciate it. I mean, these topics and these sorts of things that I've talked about, I've always thought that I haven't made the best content that I'll make. Because I think one day the best content that I'll make will be conversations with the people who hurt me. I believe there's this weird doe-eyed, dreamy-eyed stupidity in my brain that, like, that'll be the best content I make one day. Is a retrospective on this entire weird thing that we're going through. This digitized fake illusion that people live in. And one day people will put the mask down and be like, all right, let's talk about everything that happened. I know that's stupid and naive, but I'm like, well, a man can dream. Like, that'll be the best content. Like, retrospectives and looking back and thinking deeper about existence and reality and personhood and, everything that's gone down over the years, from content creators that have crashed and burned, to people that have turned their life around, to people that got caught in scandals, I don't know. There's a reason those types of podcasts are so interesting to watch, like when you've seen the clips of things like with, old Johnny Bernthal talking to Shia LaBeouf. I mean, it's, I don't know. It's interesting. It's not stupid or naive at all. I think it's great. I would like to know what's spurring the topic of conversation. Love it, by the way. Oh, Lady Desiree just came in and asked me about, what happened with Lupo and the cheating and stuff. Sent me down a whole rabbit trail. I think your best content will come when you truly forgive those that have hurt you and then can finally move on. I mean, I hold both things in my hand. I have forgiven them, but you can't really move on when it's a part of your journey. Like, I'm not gonna shy away from the truth, and I'm not gonna shy away from being like, I still think people should do the right thing, right? Like, forgiveness is a two-way street, right? You can forgive somebody for yourself, but like true forgiveness and true reconciliation and true restoration would require the other party to, do the right thing. So that sort of keeps certain things in a holding pattern. You have to hold both things in your hand. I don't think you can be a doormat and be like, well, I forgave them and it's fine and I'm just going to move on. It's like, well, no, I think you have to do it as a gift to yourself. And also it lines up with my own beliefs. But also I think that there is something that goes beyond forgiveness, and it's called reconciliation. And it would be involving both parties, not just being one-sided. Does that make sense? Super says, see my last. I argue from a socio-psychological perspective, we can only define ourselves with mirrors, but the choice of mirrors is vital. Thanks for tuning into Reforge Radio. That's right. If your show started 40 years ago, would you be Team Atari or Intellivision? We had a Coleco. Yeah. Oh, somebody asked me where I got this shirt. This is from 80stees.com. My code still works over there. You can use code LONO and get a discount if you go to 80stees.com. So, yeah. And QBZ, thank you so much for 35 months. Love these conversations. Thank you so much. Almost 3 entire years of support. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Big lead today for Team YouTube. Thank you so much, Team YouTube. Yeah, it's a Tron shirt. Yes, from the original. which Flynn's is in the new one briefly, but yes. Intellivision is what we had. Yeah. We had Intellivision and Coleco. That was the brand, right? All right. I don't know what we're doing with this guy, but we've been polite. I guess it's the time for politeness has passed. I don't know what you're doing in my Discord, but you're not going to be in my Discord anymore. They're not communicating. They're just spamming a link. I'm not sure what they're doing. What are your thoughts on the Battlefield 6 beta? You enjoy it? We're going to be jumping in again, but I've got some videos I'm going to be reacting to, which we should probably do that now. So I've got videos from Reforge Gaming, Operator Duski, and Levelcap Gaming about a variety of things that they feel should be addressed in the Battlefield 6 beta. And then we're going to jump into the beta with that kind of perspective in mind. Okay. How long were they a member? Maybe it was hacked. I didn't recognize the name, and they kept linking to their own YouTube channel, so I don't think they were hacked. I think they were literally just in here. Possible language barrier. Just, I don't know. I don't know what they were doing. Okay. So the first thing I've got for you guys, hang on. I gotta get it. I'm gonna have to get a new cable for my my Bose headphones. First clip is gonna be from Reforge Gaming, and Force is talking about the time to kill in the game being one of the situations that he would like to see addressed. So let's take a listen to what he has to say.
That I'm seeing a lot of has been about the time to kill. Seems to be a lot of people saying that the time to kill in this game is too fast, but it turns out that may not be even true at all. In fact, it looks like the exact opposite might be the case, and that the time to kill appears to be slower than Battlefield 4, at least according to some rough comparison videos that I've seen floating around. Although I will say that I think some of the weirdness of some of the guns is why people were saying this. I saw a couple of posts about, like, there were guns that weren't behaving properly. And so, more than likely, people were misfiring in their criticism and thinking, well, the time to kill is busted. I believe there were a couple of guns that were busted. Because I tend to agree with Force. I feel like I got into a couple of scuffles, and both of us lived for a while, and both of us got shot a lot. I don't think the time to kill is particularly fast. It feels pretty much on par with what I expected it. But then there are times where you're like, wait, why did I like insta-die? Or die faster than I expected? And I believe they're addressing some of those bugs. I want to make it clear, this is a very poor method of testing. These just comparing random gameplay clips side to side. We just don't know so much. There are so many variables. We don't know the starting health of the enemies prior to them being shot in the clip. Like, were they already injured? Or we don't know if they had taken any damage during the clip from any other sources. Like, did they get fired from somebody else or take blast damage from a grenade? What were the ranges and the weapon attachments that were being used in each of these clips that are put side by side? Like, again, there's just way too many variables. I would love to see some more controlled testing of the weapons and the different distances against static non-moving targets so that you know every shot is hitting. That's what I would like to see, where you could figure out where exactly does the time to kill fall in line with other Battlefield games. I
think he's correct. I think there needs to be better testing done, but I also think in the earlier days of the beta, you're also going to have weird things going on with hit registration. So any kind of lag, any kind of latency could be causing oddity within time to kill. So if somebody's dying too fast or too slow in either direction, it could be due to hit registration being not great or being inconsistent. So I would say he's absolutely correct. There's just going to have to be more extensive testing done to arrive at a strong conclusion here as to whether or not, there is there is a legitimate problem with time to kill.
Also, I've seen people saying that time to kill isn't really so much the issue as is the perceived time to death. It feels like you're getting instantly killed sometimes, and apparently part of the reason here might be due to the fact of how damage gets bundled and then registered in burst. So while on your end it might seem like you died after just 1 to 2 bullets, you check out the kill feed and it shows you actually got hit 5 or 6 times, and it's just that the damage was applied in burst. So that is a whole...
Yeah, this happened a lot in Call of Duty where, thank you, Spice King. Let me get you added to the count here. 309 on the week. Thank you so much. 12 months. 1 year. Time flies. It's been awesome hanging with you in the community. Thanks for the content. Thank you so much. We've had a lot of people say lately that I get you through your workday, and if I do that for you and you like the content so much, consider supporting directly like Spice King just did with a Member Plus membership. But this used to happen in Call of Duty all the time. You would sort of watch the kill cam and you're like, oh wow, that guy shot me 4 or 5 times and I didn't know it. I felt like I died in 2 bullets, right? That's actually pretty common in these games.
Another factor to account for here. Also, I want to say, personally, I think part of the issue of what people are experiencing here also comes down to the map sizes and layouts. There's just, with the size of these maps, there's not a lot of breathing room in the current beta rotation. Like, even on the larger ones, it does seem like you can't go 5 or 10 seconds without being shot much of the time. Also, I swear that I am performing better than I should be. I wanted to point this out here as well. Like, I don't know how heavy this game's aim assist is, but it feels pretty strong. And if that is the case, and everyone has it, while being on these maps that result in a very little amount of time between player engagements, that could also be part of the explanation. Explaining the feeling as to why people are like, dude, I'm just constantly dying all the time super quickly.
This happened a lot in, I forget which Black Ops that it was, but you would go from feeling like Godzilla to feeling like you couldn't win any of your gunfights, right? And I remember watching a video from one of the Black Ops, and a guy went on, it was like a 67 kill streak or something like that. But he made the mistake of checking the scoreboard once during his video, and you saw that his ping was like a yellow bar. He only had like 3 bars instead of all 4, and it was like yellow. Everybody else in the server was green. And what he was doing was, he was using a throttler to be on the good end of lag compensation. If you re-watched his video with a critical eye, you realize that almost nobody was shooting back. He was getting the jump on everybody, which made it incredibly easy. It was essentially like fighting bots. Well, it's because their experience was one where they were like, oh my gosh, why did I die so fast? What the heck just happened? And then they would watch the kill feed and they would see, oh, he just shot me a bunch. I experienced this numerous times. They'd be like, why did I die so fast? You would watch the kill feed. The guy would come around the corner and shoot me a bunch and I would die, and I wouldn't even shoot back. It looked like I was this oblivious idiot. And it's like, that is a significant challenge in these games, is giving people that experience where both players are seeing and experiencing the exact same thing in real time. That's a huge challenge, and that commonly happens in a PvP shooter without that, really solid connection and really solid server to client resolutions where, like, you're not having those weird latency moments. He was getting lag compensation when he didn't need it. Yes, it was. There were actual guides that came out during that Black Ops. I forget which one it was. It might have been Black Ops 2. There were literal YouTube guides on YouTube. There were video guides on YouTube that showed you how you could go into your router settings and mess with it, and you could throttle so you got the lag compensation. And those guys would basically win every game. It was like you couldn't win a gunfight against them because they always got the jump on you. This is like the earliest days of how you could kind of basically cheat on console. This is why I'm moving towards PS5 Pro for these shooters. Overusing PC cheaters are growing more and more. Let's keep listening to Reforge Gaming. I've had him pause long enough. He's looking lovingly into my soul.
A lot of factors at play here, a lot of things to consider. Also, I've been seeing a lot of complaints about the UI. And
so he's going to move on to the UI here. That's actually a perfectly good place to stop. I've got another clip from him, though, where he talks about the prevalence of snipers. Hang on, I'm trying to... It's doing that weird thing where if you double-click too soon on YouTube, it, like, glitches out. Here we go.
Yeah. Oh, I saw this post and thought it was absolutely hilarious because that's not what it really looks like when you're playing on this map, but it's what it feels like. You're just seeing the glint of sniper lenses staring you down every time you pop your head up above a rock or something on this map, and it's kind of a nightmare as a result. Yeah, there's a lot of snipers, and you know, I was told, or I read somewhere, that one of the main reasons we're seeing for the prevalence of snipers right now is that there's little to no suppression. So suppressing fire that you would send out that would mess with enemies, it would mess up their aim or mess up their vision to make it harder for them to aim and hit targets. Evidently, that's not really much of a thing anymore. I haven't played as the sniper class, as a recon, or I haven't used a sniper on any of the other classes because you can kind of mix and match weapons however you like here, except for that one particular mode. But I've mostly been playing like AR or LMG, actually. I picked the...
I actually noticed when I used the sniper and I was counter sniping the guys, like there was a guy on like a roof and like a guy on a rock, I really didn't feel any threat from them shooting like an AR at me unless they actually landed a shot. If they actually landed a shot, then it was like, okay, yeah, you flinch and it, you know, it hurts you or whatever. But by and large, it felt like I was just free and clear to just take my time, and I had like zero worry that they were going to be able to stop me. So that's an issue they're going to have to look at.
Support, and the support started as LMG. I like the class playstyle. I like rezzing people, like running around with the defibrillators. Yeah, apparently when people are sniping, they're no longer getting suppressed, which historically has been the case, I've been told, for the LMG classes. They've been good for doing the suppressing fire and making it harder for the enemies that you're shooting at to return fire, but evidently that's not really a thing.
Well, and Solemn is saying in chat, there are settings you can adjust in your menu that you can reduce all the visual feedback from being suppressed. Yeah, that needs to be looked into as well. You don't want sniping to essentially have no risk and all reward. Other than the risk of, like, yes, you can see the sniper glint and get counter-sniped, but, like, not being able to suppress. If you were able to suppress in the past, they're going to have to look at that feedback from the community and make adjustments. Now, the danger right now is that they would over-adjust and start swinging that pendulum of, you know, just reacting. And, you know, you don't want to see that for any game. You want games to be able to sort of like make minor adjustments so you don't overcorrect.
Kind of surprised. I'm sure there's some very good reason as to why they did it. We'll see if that gets tuned or not right now. Because right now, yes, especially on some of these maps, especially on that map in particular, every time I poke my head above a rock, it's just like there's like 5-7 sniper lens flares looking back at me. And I'm like, oh God, please, no. Don't take my head off and make me unresable.
Well, they also on that map need to look at spawning, because I spawned A, B, and E and immediately saw glints. So it's like you don't want to take people's ability away to get into high overlook locations that are advantageous. But you also don't want to spawn somebody like basically into the line of fire. Like you need to be spawning us up against a building, in cover, inside of a building, something to that nature, so that if you do tweak some of the suppression, then you have a counter. It's like, okay, let's spawn in this building. All right, get ready. Somebody with the LMG, put down that suppressing fire, throw down some smoke, whatever. But if you're just instant spawning and seeing those sniper glints, that's another element of map control that they're going to have to look into.
Some complaints about the fact that the RPGs aren't really good against enemy players. Like there's not a lot of splash damage. It looks like that's just kind of the case across the board right now.
Yeah, that was insane. That clip that he just showed, that was absolutely insane. That should have been an insane multi-kill in my book. I mean, an RPG in the center of a group. I think he got 2 of like the 6 people that were there, and then another one went in. I don't know.
There's not a lot of splash damage with this, or C4 was something else that I saw people complaining about. I'm gonna be honest, I don't hate it. Like I don't dislike the idea that it should mostly be guns and not explosive AoE blast radius things that are killing multiple players. Just personally, like I don't really mind this so much, but I get people are used to, like, if you shoot a rocket into a cluster of players, getting 5 kills or something. Like that's what you kind of are used to and kind of expect, but that doesn't really seem to be the case with how they're currently doing the blast radius and the amount of damage that's done to players. One complaint.
Well, and somebody's saying good, otherwise they would be OP. Right, but if you take something designed for slow rate of fire, high damage, intended to be used on a tank, on a building wall, or like a helicopter, and you take the risk of pulling out that slow weapon and using it against a group like that, and you successfully get the shot off, I feel like you should be rewarded. Nobody's going to be running around with an RPG like fragging out. You're going to be taking an enormous amount of risk just pulling the weapon out and attempting to get multiple people. You got 5 kills with 1 C4. The only clip he showed was the RPG, so the C4 might be fine, but the RPG, I mean, I was kind of surprised that didn't get, the whole group there. It seemed like it was pretty significantly lower damage than I expected.
And I saw coming up was that there's no compass in the game, although apparently...
Okay, so he's moving on to some of the other criticisms. So that was the 2 things. We'll come back to Force Gaming in a moment. He talks about cheating, but I'm going to switch gears now. I've got a clip from Operator Duski, and he talks about map balance, weapon balance, and matchmaking. So we're just kind of going through some of the feedback on the beta, and I'm curious what some of you guys think about how much of this should be implemented, how much of this should be tweaked in beta week 2, or just in the launch of the game.
Outside map, which I thought I'd like more, the Hillside Mountain one, that one just had a lot of snipers, and I realized that it played differently from, what I compared it to earlier in the last video, Monte Grappa. The mountain is concaved on both sides, where there's just basically bowls on each sides of the map that snipers can sit on the edges of and then shoot down into the center. And the sniper in this game is very overpowered. It's extremely flat firing, extremely fast velocity. I mean, I guess that's realistic, but in terms of balance, there's really no other weapons that reach the same range as the sniper rifles. Even the DMRs struggle to really be effective at that distance. So I think overall my favorite map was Cairo, but I also queued for Cairo sometimes like 8 times in a row. The random requeuing of servers that is in 2042 is back in Battlefield 6, where you, at the end of every round, you queue with another whole group of people.
You agree the sniper is OP? I guess I'm curious, how would you make it not OP? Because he's saying like no other weapons really have that range. I kind of feel like that's the point of a sniper, isn't it? Or is there traditionally weapons that have similar range for suppression? Is maybe that what he means when he says like there's really nothing else with that kind of range? Like I would kind of expect the sniper to be the standout in range because it's a sniper. Like that's sort of what I would expect. But maybe there has been... yeah, Jesse's hearing what I heard. Nothing else matches the range of a sniper's range. You're like, yeah, I kind of expect that. DMR or a carbine with a scope. Oh, so traditionally there have been weapons that scoped out would be able to compete, and again, give you the ability to maybe have some suppression, put some shots on bodies, make a sniper kind of pull back and turtle up a little bit.
That are entirely new. You don't play against the same people, or it doesn't even like team swap or anything. It's just an entirely new server, and this is to save server costs and stuff, but a lot of people have been asking for a specific server browser with persistent servers, and apparently we're going to get more updates in the future and be able to test out the new server browser later. But this experience definitely led to me playing on the same maps like 8 times in a row, and I think even with the more amount of maps that are coming with the base game, I'll still have a lot of times, if this system exists, where I'll just queue for the same map and the same mode after every single round just because of random chance. David Serland already had a pretty good discussion on Twitter with someone about the new server browser and how it should include near kind of like official experiences as well as portal experiences. So hopefully we get a server browser like we had in BF5 and BF4, or we can have community hosted servers with persistent matches and stuff. That is something I really personally want, but again, we're basically just speculating until we have the server browser on our own computers and can try it out. I also wasn't a fan of just how cluttered the UI was sometimes, and as well, the UI gives you a lot of information that's either confusing or you don't need it whenever.
Well, and I would really like to be able to put the map in the upper right corner. We talked about this. I don't know why. I can't explain it. To me, it's super awkward to have to take my eyes down and to the left to see radar. If I'm looking here at the field of view, it's really easy for my eyes to go bink, 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 like bouncing off of the corner because I'm passing over relevant information, right? Generally speaking, the bottom third of the screen is not relevant information for you. It's the ground, you know? It literally, it's like there's not a lot of relevant information down here for like moment-to-moment battle. Yes, ammo. Yes, players dead or alive, but those are usually moments that you're going to look at in a moment of like respite. Like you've got a moment, you've pulled back into a corner or something. In the heat of battle, I'm running down a street, I'm pushing through a building. My eyes just naturally want to go bink, 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 like bounce up, bounce back down. Because again, there's relevant information that I'm still able to see when I'm doing that. Pulling my eyes down to the corner away from all this relevant information just feels entirely backwards. Zubair says, I can't explain it. You can't teach a tiny old dog new tricks. Well, how many tricks can we teach a rotund lawyer? Like, I mean, what can we do there?
If you kill someone or do damage to vehicles, it doesn't even tell you, like before in Battlefield 4, what damage you did to the vehicle very clearly, because it gives you like multiple different numbers on screen. My buddy Moydog actually put up a video just yesterday, just last night, of this exact problem, and I think I agree with every single point in his video, because a lot of the heads-up display system in the game currently is just fixing what wasn't broken. Your minimap is kind of odd because it doesn't have a compass on it. It also brings in the objectives that are far away and like puts them on the edges of the map. The match status being at the top of the screen just adds more clutter in an area that could be clear, and like Battlefield 4, for example, had perfectly clear heads-up display on the top of the screen because you had your game status on the bottom left. Basically, the HUD wasn't broken. Why are we fixing it? Now, my one last thing before we jump into gameplay, let's talk about the classes.
Yeah, I actually like that. Now seeing the comparison, I actually think having the score and the timer over the map makes perfectly good sense. If you let me put the map in the upper left-hand corner, you could obviously have the score like beneath it. And then you could bring the kill feed down from where it is over top of my ammunition. I don't know, just to really give it a less. I think he is right. This is a little cluttered. I saw a lot of videos about the UI being cluttered.
And many others love that the classes are back, but I think people may be too easily swayed on the headline that they're back. While there's still lots of weirdness going on with them, I think some of the weirdest class weirdness I've seen in the Battlefield games so far.
Some of the weirdest class weirdness. This is very good vocabulary. Good work, Duski.
The old classes in Battlefield worked because they depended on the coordination of teammates to be most effective. They all had strengths and weaknesses. Some classes like the Engineer were better at taking out vehicles because they had RPGs and repair torches, but they also couldn't outdamage an Assault class's AR in most fights because they were only and repair torches.
Watch
but they also
right here,
couldn't
watch.
outdamage.
Okay, this right here is what I was talking about earlier, about how this reminds me of how Helldivers 2 is not a next-gen tour de force, but it brings a sense of scope and style and feel. And I do give Battlefield full marks for this. This is an older version, and yet the version we're playing today still brings this vibe and this feel. There is something cinematic about it. It doesn't have to be ray tracing, all these hyper reflective surfaces, path tracing, shadows. No, you bring this vibe right here and it gives it an element of timelessness. Like it sort of just has a feel and a look that I think they need to protect, like going forward, all future Battlefields. Like, don't veer away from this. You see this screenshot 10 years from now and it's a new game and you know it's Battlefield.
Assault classes AR in most fights because they were only allowed DMRs, carbines, and SMGs. An Engineer also couldn't pull out a sniper rifle and shoot you from across the map. If I saw a recon on top of a tower in Battlefield 4 holding a sniper rifle, I knew that he'd be incapable of turning around and whipping out a shotgun and blasting me away. Glancing back at 2042's release, people didn't like their new specialist system in place of classes because it gave people overpowered abilities that didn't rely on teammates to solve problems. You could run any weapon with any setup, and even while running around, switch that weapon's characteristics drastically mid-combat. There was rarely any weakness to a role that a teammate could solve, and this made every role in game mold into each other and turned a tactical team game of rock, paper, scissors into rock, 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 because when everyone is super, no one will be.
Yeah, I think that's really, really good feedback. I don't think there's a lot of disagreement here. You know, maybe COD heads would not agree, but people that have a history of Battlefield and understand everything he was just talking about, even from a distance, I played a lot of Battlefield 4 and haven't played much Battlefield since. Even from a distance, I'm in agreement with what he is saying. You're giving everybody the ability to be a Swiss Army knife, and that just doesn't work in a game like this. Like running up on a sniper and then being able to use a weapon that's very much like not sniper class is, I think, a disruption of expectation. you should be taking on some sort of latent risk when you pick that class, so that when I find you, that risk that you took, hopefully it was worth the reward that you were able to yield. Like you got on a hillside and you were sniping and you got some kills, and then somebody finds you and you don't really have the agility or the lethality for a close quarters fight and you die. That risk has got to be latent and tethered to, interwoven with the reward of the class that you're picking, as opposed to having this sort of free-for-all. I think they're going to have to consider that. I do think they're going to get pushback, though, from the people that are enjoying being sort of like an army of one, essentially Swiss Army knife character where, you know, there is nothing that you can't handle or do because you can just kind of have it all.
This is Battlefield 6, though, where we have classes back. Team play should be back. Rock, paper, scissors should be back. But taking a look at the engineer, he can be equipped with a full-powered sniper rifle, and a pistol, and an RPG, and a Stinger missile, and grenades, or assault with an assault rifle, and a pistol, don't drop it, and a shotgun, and a grenade launcher, and a med pin, and grenades. Are we beginning to connect the dots? For some reason, we've effectively doubled the equipment available to any class and allowed any class to have any gun they want? Classes were fine. Classes in Battlefield 1 were fine. Classes in Battlefield 4 were okay. We figured it out already, and people have been asking for a car with wheels, but why are we giving them a car with wheels but then trying to reinvent the wheel? All they want is the car with the wheels. Now, the devs added a mode in this beta where you could play Conquest with locked weapons, and I found that the balancing was much more interesting in that it still needed work on the balancing department, but if it was balanced to an extent of being similar to BF1, for example, we would have a really cool system on our hands. But the way to play the original Conquest mode in Battlefield 6 is not to click on Conquest, it's to click on closed weapon Conquest, which is odd to have it be the second thing, because you know most players are probably just going to click on Conquest, because with that wording, the classic Conquest mode now sounds like a spin-off mode, something that's not normal or not going to be there for very long. If anything, it should be switched around where the classic Conquest mode is called Conquest because that's what it's been forever. Drink every time you hear me saying Conquest, and then the new mode with unlocked weapons is like Conquest Sandbox or Conquest Arcade or something, where people can mix and match their kits for whatever they want. That should be the secondary experience to the original game mode that we all know and love. Mentioning things we all know and love, the aesthetic of the BF3 main menu.
Yeah, a lot of people are taking issue with main menu with UI. We've seen this, so I'm gonna let him continue here on the subject of the weapons and the locking and having a particular Conquest mode where the weapons are locked. I would say that at this point they're either going to have to make really, really decisive action or they're going to have to leave it. And thank you, Mike on the mic, for ordering a bag of the Frickmas. Thank you guys so much for the continued support of the channel. Mike on the mic's in here gifting members, doing his own membership, super chatting, and ordering coffee. Those are all great ways to support what we do. If you have not already, man, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If I help you get you through your workday with this constant flow of podcast, talk show, radio show about gaming, consider supporting with a membership. Member Plus is $6 a month. He's 100% right, says Z Sips. It's almost like the devs want to create the illusion that the player base wanted unlocked weapons. Well, maybe they do. I think that's the problem. You know, you're going to have old heads and vets saying, no, we don't want this. But then you're going to have new folks saying, oh, we love the fact that it's more open, you know?
I much prefer this over the Netflix UI. I'm just trying to be funny, though. This beta was still extremely impressive. Battlefield obviously won this beta. It was smooth. I had no crashes. I had no really big networking issues other than well and no clipping into the ground one time and a few other funny bugs. Bam, bam, bam. Why am I backwards? Whoa! This bush right here. Watch this. Boing! But I've been yapping for way too long. This beta was solid. It's gunplay.
Okay, so he's getting away from the criticisms. I was wanting to highlight criticisms and feedback, and not just praise. Now we have Levelcap Gaming. He's actually going to talk about the class system as well, and I wanted to give him an opportunity to speak on this, since it is a piece of consistent feedback. Let's see what he has to say about the class system.
All right, it's time to talk about what I think Battlefield 6's worst aspect is. Want to take a guess? It's their class design and open weapon system. DICE seems to have abandoned all the class design improvements that the studio made for Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5, and they just threw it away. Literally, some of the best class balance this franchise has ever seen were in BF1 and BF5, and instead of following in their footsteps, we have something much closer to 2042's garbage class system. Battlefield 6 now has a support/medic role, and an assault that doesn't really have a purpose right now. I know DICE are going to switch the spawn beacon from the recon to the assault after the beta, but to see the recon's most important gadget get swapped 2 months before launch shows just how poorly thought out these classes actually are, and we are now in full band-aid fix mode. I think combining the support and medic class into a single class is the foundation of their problem. When DICE has used a dedicated medic class in their games and the assault class becomes more of the anti-vehicle class, it has ended up being much better distribution of roles and abilities. And then having a custom weapon selection for each role was used to handcraft their combat experience rather than trying to make them fit into a blanket combat range and blanket weapon category. DICE had already designed the building blocks for strong class identities with BF1 and BF5. BF1 didn't have assault rifles exactly, so it was a little different, but Battlefield 5's template would have translated into BF6 perfectly. Locked weapons, assaults would get a lot of the anti-vehicle weapons, medic would get SMGs and DMRs, support gets ammo and LMGs and shotgun, recon gets bolt actions and some SMG pistol type options, spawn beacons, and spots. It was so much more interesting to have specific weapon lists and classes and well-defined roles, and while you might be playing BF6 and completely oblivious to all of this stuff and enjoying yourself, which honestly I was as well, it's hard to ignore when you know how much better it could be. Now DICE is scrambling to make the assault a worthwhile class by giving it a spawn beacon, and everyone is pretending that it's fine to give healing and ammo to one class for whatever reason. It's 2042 class balance all over again, and this is more than a we'll fix it after launch problem. I think we're going to be stuck with trying to duct tape fix a fundamentally bad class system for the rest of this game's development. I hope I'm wrong on that, but it seems like what it's going to be.
Okay, so yeah, very similar thoughts there on the class system, being that like they're going to have to kind of revert and go back maybe. Again, it seems like the feedback's pretty much in agreement that they're not nailing that aspect of the game like at all. So I'm going to have to move the PlayStation in here. I would say that's pretty much the bulk of what I wanted to do today. And we going forward will probably not do a ton more of Battlefield coverage until the game comes out. I'll dive into campaign. We'll check it out. So we are going to see if we can have a slightly better experience today in the beta. I'll turn off that crossplay and we'll see how it goes. If you guys are on PS5 and want to play with me, we could maybe get a little crew going and see if we can't have a better experience, and then we'll see how the feedback feels playing today. All right, give me just a second. Make sure you guys are smashing like, renewing your memberships, renewing your primes. If you pay for Amazon Prime, make sure you are using that. So I was gonna watch a clip from Reforge Gaming about cheating, but we can leave that one out. I don't think that one's as important. We know that the cheating's happening and that they're working on it. So hopefully they can resolve it. So give me 1 second. Okay. Yo, Rope, 8 months, new month on Purple. Check your primes. He is correct. The month is now rolled over. The month has just rolled over here on purple, so check your primes. It's a huge aspect of support for my channel. And thank you everybody who has continued support over there, as well as those who continue to gift and support on YouTube as well. All right, I'll get this open in case there is an update. And then the battle rage is on. 6 to 46. You're only 40 behind, Purple, so make it drop 40 and tie it. J59 on fire renews and gets us to 311. Thank you so much. It says I've got 3 notifications. Wu Chang's updating, and then Fortnite's going to update. Yeah, Wu Chang pushed out an update. One of the patches addressed one of my primary criticisms, which was when you get knocked down and you get back up. I get knocked down and I get up again, right? Well, you'd get knocked down in that game, and you'd go to get back up, and it would be a bit of a stun lock. And they have addressed that. So, to the folks that always love to not at all engage with what I'm saying, like that day especially, I was right. It was an issue. They've addressed it. It's always funny how that works out, right? Eugene says, stop it. Random Chumbawamba. I didn't even mean to do a little bit of Chumbawamba. And a 5 bomb comes in from Glenn Schofield and gets us to 316. A 10 bomb away from the next milestone. Maybe somebody decides to steal it with a 10 bomb on either platform. Oop, hang on. I'm going to mute my mic. Looks like Donnie's going to join me. Hang on 1 second. I am going to change my... Is it under system? Oh, crossplay is on. Yeah, I'm gonna turn crossplay off. So I don't know if Donnie I don't think you'll be able to play with me. I can't hear you right now, by the way. How do I go to my lobby? Wait, Donnie's playing on PlayStation. I can't turn it off. Do me a favor, Don, disconnect and then reconnect in a second. It's not letting me turn it off. I wonder if it's like maybe you can't disable it once people are with you. Yep, I can now do it. There we go. All right, crossplay is disabled. All right, you can rejoin me, Donnie. All right, anybody that wants to join me, go ahead. I'm going to quickly take a quick restroom break. Well, hang on. I'm going to wait. If anybody's going to do a 10 bomb, now's the time. I want to make sure I give credit to whoever does it first, but I can't do that if I step away. So if somebody's going to do it, I'm going to give you 60 seconds, but I need to take a quick break, run upstairs. I'm super curious to see how Lono fares out in PvP. I did find my first game, and then Hilly joined me on PC, and I think we got pulled into like sweaty PvP PC land, because even both Hilly and Donnie played with me, and they were like, that was terrible. They had a much better experience later in the day. Like, we just got pulled into a sweat lobby. Well, 2 sweat lobbies in a row. So, it was bad. So, yeah. There's actually worse implications of the updates around the actual story itself. They're complaining about the depiction of certain NPCs and bosses, so they made dramatic changes. Oh, no, yeah, I saw that like, they changed things. There's a technique to rolling, but enough people complained, so they fixed it. No, Broken, I would try to roll out of being knocked onto the ground. I would try to roll away, and you literally couldn't. There were fights where you were basically stun locked. There was no getting out of it. It needed to be addressed. I could not get it to work, and there were multiple times I saw footage in like other fights and other instances where people were having the exact same experience. So, did you play PvP in Destiny? Were you a Trials player? Oh, I was not. What do you mean? So, Eugene, they made some changes to Wu Chang where you don't actually kill certain players in the story now. You just exhaust them and they run away. Yeah. The big gifters must have left after the currency deal. I don't know if they've left, but I've continued to tell them it still supports the channel. It still supported the channel all year. I just had to adjust how much I'm giving back because that was hurting me. They were not hurting me. What was hurting me was the amount I was giving back. We have adjusted how much we're giving back, and we are now protected. So I don't care what currency you use. It doesn't matter to me. You're still choosing to support my channel. I had to make my own adjustments. I'm glad we figured it out. I don't think anybody should feel bad or shame or anything like that. Like, it's just the nature of what's called localized pricing. It's not a concern of the viewer. It isn't. You're supporting. That's all that matters. And a 10 bomb comes in from Charles Freeman. He says, okay, I'll take it. And there it is. Another one stolen by Team YouTube. I owe YouTube another member. Thank you so much. Maybe you should make a PSA. I've been saying it every day. I don't want to hyperfixate on it. I don't want it to make it a huge focal point of every stream. But I've periodically said, hey, if you were using another currency, you are still welcome to support and gift. You don't need to feel like you're not helping or supporting. You were supporting me this entire year. We have adjusted me giving back, and we are now protected from it hurting me. And Wire Roll with a 5 bomb rolls us up to 331, and maybe that tempts a 20 bomb to get us to 350. That is the next milestone. We will see if anybody decides to drop it. Thank you guys so much for the continued support of the channel. Behemoth says we are here to support. Yeah, Behemoth, you and others that are using other currency, like, don't at all feel like you need to stop. It wasn't your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. We made a mistake. We have corrected the mistake. It's that simple. It is that simple. The culture of generosity is still here. I'm still giving back. You guys are still gifting. That's all that matters. You lost a couple of trades in crypto and you're recovering. Hey, that happens, man. That happens. I was getting beat up. On some of the stuff that I own. I'm not into crypto. I just have some stocks here and there. So, yeah, I've been getting beat up. It looks like it's getting better though. It looks like it's getting better out there. Boy, I could never be a day trader. I would lose my mind. It would make me nauseous. Okay. All right. Right now, my lobby is me and Donnie. My PlayStation tag is Reforge TV. So, yeah. All right. Give me a quick break. I want to take a quick break before we jump into some gameplay. I've got to use the restroom. Okay. Keep smashing like and doing the things. Oh, I haven't even scheduled the gameplay stream. I'll schedule that now before I go upstairs, actually. Let me do that. It's probably good for us to have like a second stream. This stream didn't get off to the greatest start, and gameplay will probably potentially pull in more folks because I think folks are more interested in gameplay than discussion right now. We did all of our discussion on Monday. We had a great stream on Monday talking about the game and talking about Call of Duty, and but I didn't want to take away the talk show. You know, I know a lot of you guys really enjoy the talk show, and I did not want to take that away from you and just dive right into gameplay today. So we had a great time this morning, a lot of good back and forth, and it was fun reacting to those videos. I kind of enjoy doing that. Like, hang on. YouTube is losing its mind. I don't have monetization settings on a new live stream. Let me refresh. What the heck is going on? Okay, there we go. I was like, that glitch has happened before. They've made updates to the live streaming dashboard, and it looks nicer. It looks like cleaner, but it sometimes when they roll out those new updates, it can break things. All right. There we go. You know what? I am going to add a fundraiser to this. We are a part of Team Water, and they sent me a t-shirt and everything, and I keep forgetting to do it, and we're going to do it. It still is going on, I believe. There we go. Mr. Beast is spearheading another charitable thing. WaterAid's an international non-governmental organization focused on water, sanitation, and hygiene. And so anybody contributing to that today, we'll put that on the gameplay. You know what? I'll go get the shirt too. I'll put the shirt on. They were kind enough to send me the shirt, and I kept forgetting to set it up and do it. So I added you, but won't be on until later. That's fine. I'm on your lobby, waiting to kick Bobby. Hey, how are you, Lazaro? You doing? I hope you're well. I hope you're well. All right, I'm all paid up on members that I owe. There is a potential 20 bomb dunker hanging in the air right now, whichever platform does it. Whoever hits it gets it. So give me just a brief moment, and we'll be diving into some Battlefield 6 gameplay for week 2 of the beta. All right? All right, I'll be right back. Okay. See? It looks good with the blue, too. Thanks, Mr. Beast. And Team Water for sending the shirt. They completely forgot. They did this thing a while back, and I was like, yeah, we'll be a part. I'll support something that admirable. You added me? Gamertag, Living Goddess. Okay, cool. Wait, did I refer to you as a he before? Or you're with Gwendolyn Gaming? Should I be saying she? I didn't even think about that. I don't know why. It's like I did that stupid thing of assuming. Wardrobe change, just like that. Just like that. Okay, let me go in here. Battlefield 6 Beta Week 2. Okay. Schmedium, that's right. Team Water, let's switch to Battlefield 6. Done. Okay, there we go. Okay. I'll turn this off for the open. Well, I'll start here. I'll start here. What are the challenges this week? Oh, buddy, there's a bunch. I'll take a look at that first. C. Lou with 5 months of members. Thank you so much. No, I'm a guy. Okay. I just assumed that you were, and then I saw Living Goddess, and then I was like, wait a minute, Gwendolyn. I was like, wait a minute. Unseen Avenger sent you a friend request. There we go. There's a person who sent me a friend request, and your name is literal gibberish. I'm not going to accept friend requests from people that I don't recognize. Sorry. It's literally just a bunch of numbers. Okay, there we go. Let me get you guys a link here. Can you still do the challenge from the previous week? Yes. Capture flags, get kills or assists, sectors captured, it looks like. Man, YouTube is having some serious problems right now. Okay. All right, I'm going to give you guys a link on YouTube. That's where we're headed for some gameplay here. Hopefully it doesn't crash and act terrible. Thank you so much for checking out the video. This is going to be me diving into Battlefield 6 gameplay beta week 2, but I did want to draw attention. There is a fundraiser on this video and stream. Team Water, Jimmy, Mr. Beast, and the boys were kind of sending me a shirt. They were kind of to include us, so we want to have that fundraiser on this video. Any of your money that goes to support the actual aid, and if you look at the details off to the side, you will see how much has been raised. There's 16 days left. They are at 18 million of the 40 million. What this does is it's an international, I'm just going to read it to you so I don't get any of this wrong. It's an international non-governmental organization. It's focused on water, sanitation, and hygiene. All right. So Mr. Beast is leading this creator-led crowdfunding campaign to change millions of lives around the world through access to clean water. Immensely important. You can donate to that. I'm going to end the previous stream and bring folks over with redirect, and then we are going right here.